Citizen Kane, but even critics have claimed that it was shit in its day. Some films are shit and shit they will stay, but some get better over time because of Nicolas Cage. So which film stays shit forever? And which one's got a little bit better? Second chance movies. No poor bloods were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Welcome to Second Chance Movies, the podcast where we rewatch movies and decide if they deserve a second chance.
I'm Joe Harper, your host who loves rewatching movies, and I have encountered 3 rattlesnakes in the wild this year.
This year?
This year. That's 3 more than all of the snakes I've seen in the wild in my life.
That's a lot of snakes.
Rattlesnakes.
Rattlesnakes. Oh god, no thank you.
Danger noodles!
Danger noodles. I'm never going outside now, Jesus. And I'm Jessica Quaz, your host, who's a one and done kind of movie viewer whose least favorite part of the zoo is the reptiles.
They aren't doing much.
They don't do much, but they really gross me out.
Oh, okay. They don't.
I'm not a fan. Not a fan. And today we are giving a second chance to the iconic 2006 Sam Jackson vehicle, Snakes on a Plane.
Oh, what a time.
What a time.
For those of you who do not remember this movie, I want to just recap the summary. An FBI agent takes on a plane full of deadly, venomous snakes, deliberately released to kill a witness being flown from Honolulu to Los Angeles to testify against a mob boss.
That's it. That's exactly what happens.
That's more than I needed to see this movie. The title alone makes me want to see the movie.
I mean, this summary could just be Snakes are on a plane, and I'm in.
Samuel L. Jackson stars in a movie where snakes are on a plane and it's an issue. Okay, I'm in.
There we go. Let's talk about our first chance with Snakes on a Plane. So, Joe, do you remember your first time watching Snakes on a Plane?
It had to have been in college when it came out. It came out while I was in college. I'm almost positive my friends and I went to see. This is the type of thing we would be like, oh, it's so hilarious! Oh my god, snakes are on a plane and Sam Jackson's doing stuff and yelling about things. We would have gone and seen this in theater. I don't know how many more times I would have seen it past the theater.
I remember also watching it with friends. I don't think I saw it in theaters. I think I saw it after it was released on DVD. I think I was at a friend's house and we were like, hell yeah, let's fucking get into this. And I remember being like, all of us being really into it in sort of like an ironic sort of way where we're like, yeah, we know what this is. I'm gonna fucking ride this out. I didn't remember much. I think that was like the first and only time I'd seen it until now. I just remember, of course, Samuel Jackson, of course, snakes terrorizing a plane,
Okay.
and of course that dope-ass song Cobra Starship does for it.
I forgot about the song.
So I loved Cobra Starship back in the day, so that song came back.
The only things I remember visually from it are kid witnessing murder at the beginning.
Interesting that you remembered that.
I just think that's such a weird reason to put him, on there. I remember Kenan Thompson being in it. This was like right as he got, I think, SNL. And you're like, what?
Probably.
He's doing stuff.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him since all that and Good Burger. So it was fun seeing him like as an adult. We were like, what? I remember like the couple having sex in the bathroom and the snake biting her titty. I was like,
somehow I didn't remember that. I don't know why, because it's so
well, you weren't a
visually
horny,
insane.
college boy. That's
okay,
for sure.
That's fair, yeah.
Well, I was just like, yeah, boobies, like freaking out. Now it's really just silly, goofy, over the top. Those are the moments I enjoy about this movie. Just like, what is some weird, dumb thing we could put in? Got it.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's bits and pieces like I remember, but going through it this time, it was fun seeing like, oh yeah, I didn't know these actors were in this.
Yeah, I was kind of floored when Juliana Margulies showed up. Forgot about her in this. And then Taylor Kitsch from Friday Night Lights is the guy in the bathroom having sex when the snakes first come up. Like, what? That was very interesting. And Keenan, too. I did not remember Keenan, so that was wild. All right, well, let's get into some other people's first time with Snakes on a Plane.
Let's start off with some positive. I'm going to start off these positives with the way I prefer to start off all my positive reviews. With a Nell Minow quote.
Oh my god, I'm so glad she saw this.
Nell Minow, man, she was one of the ones I was like, oh, did she watch this? And I need to know what she thought of this. And it's in the positive, so that's always a good sign. Nell Minow of Movie Mom. I imagine the 4 screenwriters divided it up. I'll make a list of places on the plane the snakes will be found. You do body parts they can bite. You do items on a plane that can be used as weapons. And you do things that can go wrong. That's not really an opinion, but I get it, yeah.
I see what she's saying, and I would agree. It does sort of feel like, let's just, instead of writing a plot, let's just go through the list of crazy shit we can do. Let's do it. Why not?
Movie writing clue. Candlestick. Bathroom. Sam Jackson.
Jen Chaney with the Washington Post said, Snakes on a Plane is pure escapist fun, and absolutely nothing more.
I couldn't agree more. It's turn your brain off.
You really don't need to think far into this movie. It says it in the title, it does the job for you.
I just read the title. I get it.
Yeah.
Lisa Rose of Newark Star Ledger. There's a certain knee-jerk impulse to bash snakes just because of all the ridiculous build-up, but the film delivers on its promise of reptilian fun with a camp mix of comedy, horror, and suspense.
It's super campy, of course. It's called Snakes on a Plane. And it has a little bit of all the campy horror, not a serious horror in the slightest, and suspense. And then just like leaning into it, which makes it really comedic and silly. So I like the mix of what we got going on here. Jake Euchert with F5 out of Wichita, Kansas said, with entertainment this cardboard and weightless, isn't a response like disappointment disproportionately complex? Which is like, yeah.
Yeah, if you complain about this movie, what were you doing in the first place?
You knew literally exactly what you were getting into. This movie did not try to hide it.
It sure didn't. It knew we're kind of dumb, but I think you'll like it.
And like, hey, you might not have liked it, that's okay, but you can't be like disappointed or upset by it.
J.R. Jones of Chicago Reader. The plot is ridiculous and the characters are cardboard, but not, is that the same one you just read?
No, that's the second one to say cardboard.
Oh, that's why I was like, wait, what? The plot is ridiculous and the characters are cardboard, but none of that really matters once the snakes get into the fuselage and start zapping people. The very definition of entertainment. I'm sorry, I stumbled on that because zapping people? It's never a phrase that I think, or a verb that snakes can do.
No, when I think zap, it's like an electricity bolt, like a zap.
I thought that. They bite a lot of people.
They bite, they move quick, but zap is weird.
Venomize people.
Venomize people, they sure do. Well, I think it's time to get to what's going to be my least favorite part of the episode, and that's the negative reviews for Snakes on a Plane. We gotta start shitting on Snakes on a Plane. Ugh.
Phoebe Flowers of South Florida Sun Sentinel. The greatest title in history is, when executed as an actual movie, venomously awful.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, someone knows how to pun.
Stephanie Zachariak with Salon.com. Snakes on a Plane could have been great. Good, bad fun. All it had to do was live up to its name.
I'm almost positive there are snakes on this plane.
I saw snakes on that plane.
It lives up to the title. There's too many snakes on the plane.
There are so many snakes on that goddamn plane. So many of them.
Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly. What exactly is the joke? If this cornball exploitation disaster movie had been called Anaconda 3 Flight of Fear, or as was once planned, Pacific Air 121, we could all stop pretending that there is something exotically tacky about it. I think I actually read that they filmed under the name Anaconda 4 to avoid people like investigating. I've also heard that the original title was Pacific Air 121, which is a bad title anyway.
So I read some fun facts about that because I remember hearing like rumblings about the title change and stuff like that. So originally, I think this is a funny story. So originally it was going to be titled Snakes on a Plane, and then Jackson's management team said he's absolutely not going to do a movie called Snakes on a Plane. So then they changed it to like the more serious like Pacific
Air 121.
Apparently, Samuel Jackson found out that his management team said that and was like, no, we're not being serious here. Are you fucking kidding me? And then, so he's actually is quoted as saying, I was like, are you out of your fucking mind? That's exactly what you want to do, he told Entertainment Weekly. How else are you going to get people into the movie? Nobody wants to see Pacific Air 121. That's like saying Boat to Heaven. People either want to see this movie or they don't. So let them know, if you're going to see this movie, you're going to see a plane full of deadly-ass snakes. That's what it should be called. Deadly-ass snakes on a plane.
Oh, man.
And then he said, when the title changed to Pacific Flight 121 was the stupidest damn thing I ever heard.
It is really stupid, yeah. Because Owen has a point. If this movie wasn't titled Snakes on a Plane, would we give a shit?
No. And so Samuel L. Jackson, I love that his management was like, he's an actor? He's not doing that? And he was like, are you stupid? Yes, we are.
So, as someone who has watched Samuel L. Jackson's masterclass, he goes into, he just wants to go, he wants to be in movies that, I'd like to see me in that, like, or I'd like to go to the theater to see that type of movie. I don't really care about, like, this is gonna get me an Oscar, no, I want to be in something fun, like, which is why I think he's done the Star Wars, he's in the Marvel movies. He has a fun time being in them and watching them. That's why he's in Kong. Like, I think that's the perfect example of it, because that's, like, the movie that, like, this is a big spectacle action thing. I want to watch that. I love watching me. Put me in that.
Yeah, and I think it's obviously worked very well for him so far, and his filmography is, like, all across the board, which is really cool. He does, like, you know, the little weird sort of smaller projects. Like, Pulp Fiction wasn't supposed to be a big hit. It was like this weird sort of smaller movie he was down to do. And then he does shit like Snakes on a Plane, where it's just like, I'm gonna have fun. I want to do this movie. It's exciting. Whatever. I don't care if it's good or not. And that's, I think, why we fucking love him, because he's game. Like, he's down to do it. And we love him for that.
Randy Shulman of Metro Weekly, Washington, D.C. This movie isn't just mediocre. It's profoundly mediocre.
I don't think so.
I think in the lens of 2022, it's not as great. I think this movie was best in 2006.
I think the uniqueness of just having an action movie where venomous snakes are the villain on a plane, that makes it just not mediocre in my eyes.
You can't get away from them. There's no way out of this situation except landing the plane and leaving the plane.
And I'm sorry, how many big budget movies did this?
You're also over the ocean. There's no landing.
That's what I like about it. You can't just pop on the ground. Like, you are in it. All right, Jeff Strickler with Minneapolis Star-Tribune said, it's the funniest thriller of the year, although I'm not sure if everything we laugh at is supposed to be amusing.
I think they know this is stupid. Let's put this in there.
I think they know exactly what they're doing, and I think when the internet found out about it, they even doubled down with like, oh yeah, we're gonna just have fun and be silly and stupid. It was definitely supposed to be amusing. Alright, so there unfortunately is no Roger Ebert. He could not be bothered with Snakes on a Plane, at least that I could find. I did some digging because I was like, does he get it? Does he get what they were going for? Was he just mean about it? I'll never know.
But I feel like it's like the number one film critic of all time.
Right.
Like there's no, he's the one everyone can associate like and know. Oh, he's a film critic. Like that's
Exactly.
He's the guy.
That's why I joke that he's the sassiest bitch, because like we all know him for that.
I do not understand how he would have not watched this. I feel like it's
Right.
his responsibility.
That's what I would have thought too, but I could not find his review. So
If he can sit through North, he can sit through this.
exactly. I mean, come on. We've heard some weird reviews from him. This is odd. This was a huge movie back in the day. So if anyone out there listening is able to find his review, please send it. I would love to see it. I really would. I'd be fascinated. But I couldn't find it, and I'm sad about that. His critic partner, Richard Robert, at the Chicago Sun-Times, did give his opinion about Snakes on a Plane, so I guess this is like the closest we're going to get to it. But anyway, Richard Roper said, without that title and a year's worth of internet-fueled buzz, this would be just another forgettable, mildly entertaining, mid-August throwaway movie.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong at all. I do agree with that. But I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, I truly don't. I think that makes it really fun and sort of special that, like, this really weird, wacky idea for a movie was coming out, and we, as audience members, took it as our own on the internet. And we're like, this is for us. So much so that they did reshoots and read what people said on the internet to incorporate it in the movie. I mean, this was, like, literally our movie. All right, well, let's talk about our second chance with Snakes on a Plane. Right away.
Yeah.
I just want to say that I went into this movie just being like, oh my god, I forgot a lot about this movie. I forgot, like, the stuff around it. I forgot about a lot of, like, what happens in the movie. And so I was really interested in revisiting it because it's, like, was such a weird sort of, like, I feel like it's almost an anomaly. Like, movies like this are so interesting when they get made, especially now. Like, I don't think Snakes on a Plane could get made nowadays because I think people would think it's too silly and too stupid to give money to.
I think it could get made if it hammed it up way more. If it was way over the top, because then we're kind of like in the joke. I think it could get made. It would have a very different vibe. You'd have to get a very select, like, I would say comedic director, or just, it would be like in the vein of Sausage Party, where they're like, like, we got a funny joke and a gag, and then they just didn't know what to do with that movie. Whereas, like, if you really go hard, maybe, especially if it was a reboot of this movie.
You just put a thought into my head. If we were to make this movie now, let's just say Sam Jackson couldn't be in it, for whatever, he can't be in it, who would you want to see?
First of all, that's wrong. He would be in it. I think he's known for, as long as you're paying him, fucking show up.
He would do Snakes on a Plane too, I'm sure. But, like, who else would we want to see
Open him to, like, a cameo.
Yeah.
Not really cameos, but just, like, minor role. Like, he gets 1 to 2 scenes, and he absolutely dies. But in the most heroic fashion of, like, blowing up the back half of the plane with holding all the snakes and...
Yeah, a good heroic death for sure. But who would we want as the lead? Like, who would we want in today's, like, Sam Jackson role?
Do we want someone... I feel like I want someone who knows it's goofy.
Absolutely.
Do we want someone that's an action star or a comedy star?
Action. I want an action star.
My go-to name that I just thought of, it's probably not the person I would select, but Jason Statham is, because after he did that one Melissa McCarthy movie where he is in on the gag of him being like the goofy, like over-the-top action person. So that's where my mind went to. But I think we need someone like Dwayne Johnson, who is like a big, huge star.
That's interesting.
And I think Dwayne Johnson would be like the guy for this.
And he's done movies that aren't super far removed from Snakes on a Plane. Like, what is that? Skyscraper or whatever? So we kind of touched on this a little bit in the reviews, but let's just like get to why the snakes are on the plane in the first place, because I find this to be the most boring.
It spends quite a bit of time at the beginning setting this up.
It does.
First of all, we get Hawaii, which is so cool. This kid on a dirt bike just randomly runs into some guy getting... Is he getting hung or he's just hung up?
I think he's hung up and about to get murdered.
Yeah, okay. Or he's in the process of dying. He just witnesses an execution, gang style. And the gang somehow noticed who he was, because he was in a bike and dips off.
Yeah.
My note at the beginning was snakes on a dirt bike?
Yeah, when we open on a dirt bike, I'm like, what in the world are we doing here?
And then Sam Jackson just shows up at the kid's apartment. It's like, I'm here to protect you. How? How do you know who this kid is? I'm already super confused, as we're trying way too hard to make sense of this. Which is why my version, we just start with everyone getting on the plane and it's a mystery and we're learning bit by bit.
I like that a lot better. Who cares? Who cares? Like, who cares how the snakes are on a plane? But I do feel like watching that part, it really was like, shit, we gotta find a way to make sense of this. What I thought when I first watched it, this time around, was the gang, right before they're about to kill, he's a prosecutor, he's, whatever, the guy who they murder is a prosecutor, okay. Right before they murder him, they say something like, your son's gonna grow up without a dad, or whatever, and then kill him. So I thought, like, oh, the kid who witnessed it is his son, and that's how they know who he is. That's how Sam Jackson can find him, because he's a prosecutor's son. And then I realized as the movie goes on, no, he's not his son. He's just some random kid. So, like, when I was watching it, all that stuff it was unbelievable, but sort of made sense of, like, oh, they found him because he's a son. Sam Jackson found him because he's a son. No, he's not a son. I think your way would make it better. We'd get into the action right away. And as the movie goes on, we find out, oh, he's so-and-so. He's about to testify. He's a really important
We have to clear off the first class. Why? Classified. We don't know. Oh, cool. I'm intrigued. I want to know the reason why we have to clear out first class. Oh, and then have a scene with them like, hey, you're in witness protection. Shut the fuck up. You're not allowed to say anything. I'm Sam Jackson. Motherfucker. And then we learned that way. I also learned that via trivia, I don't know how true it is, but hopefully it's true, Shia LaBeouf turned down a role in this movie. I wonder what role that could have been. Oh man, you know what? I really wish he was the Sean character, because it would have just been better. It
would have been way more interesting with Shia LaBeouf. Like, it would have just even been more of like a time capsule moment.
Have like our Sam Witwicky personality. Like, what am I gotta do something.
Yeah, because like this Sean is really boring. He's really forgettable. He spends a lot of time like wanting to help, but Sam Jackson's like, nah, dude, we need you alive. Like, knock it off. And instead of being like you said, a Sam Witwicky, almost like, I want to help though. He's almost like trying too hard to be heroic. Like, a little too, like, I have to do the right thing. Like, whatever.
And, like, I get it, because, like, if he died, Jackson even says, like, if you die, this is for nothing. Like, you need to be alive to put this guy in jail. Or all these people that got killed by snakes on this fucking plane. And
it's for nothing. Yeah, I get it. It makes sense why, like, he has to sort of grapple with, like, I gotta be protected, but, like, I want to help people with the snakes. But, like, it doesn't come off as, like, fun or interesting in a way that maybe if we had that sort of, like, Shia LaBeouf energy type of thing, like, would have. Especially, like, that mid-2000s Shia. That was a time.
So, I really like the introducing all the characters that could die moment.
Yeah.
Because, like, we get a wide variety of people, and in it now, like, if we were rebooting it, we're definitely getting... I would try and get a lot of, like, C-list and B-list people. No A-listers, because I would assume, like, oh, they're going to make it. You know, like, nah, I want everyone thinking anyone's expendable. That's where I want it. That's a sweet spot I need. Because, like, even, like, we get David Koechner, and I totally forgot he's in this fucking movie.
Me too. What I think is fun about that, too, is, like, It did feel like that in this movie, because I had forgotten who lives and who dies. So it did feel like anyone could go at any moment, and that's what makes it really interesting to watch. And what
Yeah, no star is like above the other, especially at whatever stage of career they're in, or even if they are like Keckner is a guy that like he dies in a lot of things, so like I expect he could, but he's also the kind of guy that like we love his goofiness, so like he could make it through. He could be the goofy you love, the one we love, and make it to the end.
Yeah, and like what's interesting about him is he plays one of our pilots, and he does seemingly die at first, and he's gone, and you're like, oh shit, okay, fuck, what are we gonna do? And then he just I don't want to ask a single question about what happened. He just comes back and is like, oh, I didn't die actually, I'm good to go.
I'm just full of venom. I think I'm gonna pull through.
Good, great, you're fun. Let's bring you back in here. Who cares? One thing I did find funny, Taylor Kitsch, who's from Friday Night Lights. I don't remember if the show was on at this point, but
Just barely. I
Okay.
think. I think like a season.
he was one of our very first to go, which I thought was interesting. So, and the cast is really wild. So we have, of course, Samuel Jackson. We have David Koechner, like we just said, Taylor Kitsch, Juliana Margulies, who's like an actress, truly Broadway, like ER, The Good Wife, like known for her acting. So I thought she was fun in this.
I've never seen anything she's in except Snakes on a Plane.
Really? Okay.
I've never watched an episode of ER.
ER slaps. ER is the original doctor drama.
I've never watched The Good Wife.
Okay.
I don't think I'm the audience for that show.
Yeah, The Good Wife is really good.
I think those are two big things, and yeah, I haven't watched either.
She's also like Broadway lady. So like
I don't watch Broadway.
okay, so then yeah, you're not in her demo for a lot of things. This is an anomaly for her as well. We also have Keenan, who fits so well into this movie.
Keenan's a good fit for this.
Perfect. And then we have Bobby Cannavale, who's also like Broadway actor.
I forget he's in this because he's not on the plane.
He's not on the
like the FBI agent that's like solving the crime on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta figure out who put the snakes on the plane.
Apparently, I was reading, I don't know how true this is, but supposedly he fucking hates this movie. He's like really regrets doing it. I'm like, dude, if Sam Jackson doesn't, you shut up. This is fun. I don't think we need his character in the movie. We do cut back to him quite a few times.
I do think that he's necessary because then we get Todd Luiso, and I like him as like the nerdy like snake expert. We need a snake expert to tell everyone how to deal with all these venomous snakes.
That's true. That is a really interesting part where like we get to have someone on the ground walking us through like the snakes and like how to survive and all that. One of my favorite parts about that is they're talking about like, oh my god, how do we get this snake information to our guy on the ground? Like, oh my god, I don't know how we can do this. And knockoff Alicia Silverstone goes, haven't you ever heard of email dickwad? Because she has this flip phone that can get this email photos. What? And this is like novel technology in this movie. Like, oh my god, we can do that? Like,
it'd be a lot easier now. Everyone would just be able to like Google the snake, or they even have an app that just points at the snake's direction and like identifies, oh, this is it. Plus, this is how you cure it.
oh my god, we forgot to mention the star of the movie, Mary-Kate the Chihuahua. I love her.
She's really cute, and it's so sad when she gets tossed. Usually, like in movies, like the dog ain't gonna die. Dog is gonna survive it. What monster murders the pet?
This movie does.
Old white man just grabs the little dog, and like, oh, here, it'll distract them for a second. Oh, what did you do, you monster?
Monster. That's the one thing I would absolutely change about this movie. Mary-Kate survives. I don't care how. As a Chihuahua dog mom myself, that part really, really gets to me. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. But I do like that the awful white guy who throws the Chihuahua gets his comeuppance right away
within seconds.
Within seconds.
the anaconda was like, "That's not a meal.
No.
You're a meal."
And like the wraps around him and then starts swallowing his head. Oh, it's a gross death.
Even better is at the end of the movie when the plane explodes and everything's getting sucked out. You could see the anaconda with his giant fat body in it just zoop, right out of the plane.
So you know he's having a miserable long death, but it's still Mary Kate, my Chihuahua girl.
Again, in my reboot, he throws the Chihuahua, it lands in the middle of the snakes, and the anaconda just looks up at him like, "You're bigger, you fucking idiot." And probably even says that too, because in my movie, the snakes would talk.
Sure.
Why not?
Why not?
We're camping it up.
Turn it up to 11. We are in it.
I would have that happen.
Speaking of, one of the most bonkers part of this movie to me, and there's a lot of stuff happening in it, is when we get POV shots from the snake. Like the camera is what the snake sees, and it's got this like really weird, bizarre like filter over it to be like, "Whoa, it's a snake now." Like
we're editing with Final Cut and it has this filter. Let's use that.
I love it. It's so weird. It's so bizarre. Why did we do that?
Maybe that's how snakes see.
Maybe. I don't know. But like literally that is like 2 seconds away from just having the snakes talk at that point.
So I think the things that didn't age well, you've already mentioned our technology. Our homophobia in snake bites.
Yeah.
So snake bites a guy in the butt. And our flight attendant, who everyone is pretty convinced that he's gay. Someone volunteers to suck the venom out of someone's butt. Hell no! You'd rather die from the venom than have someone, just because they're a male, suck the venom out of your butt? Okay, dude.
Yeah, it's a weird joke. Also, like, the flight attendant, the whole gag is that, like, is he gay? We think so. Like, okay, whatever.
The other thing that was gross was they wouldn't let the guy suck the poison out, but I think Elsa sucks poison out of somebody, and then they're like, "That's hot."
And it's out of a kid, too. It's like a kid's arm, and she's like, "I know how to do this," and so she volunteers bravely to save the kid and suck the venom out.
I think it's Keenan that's like, "I got bit too," which is mildly funny. Had they not done the homophobia thing, I think that joke would have landed.
Yeah.
But because you've already been like, "Hell no. No, then no one can suck stuff out of you." Again, things that didn't age well. Keenan talks about landing the plane based off a PlayStation 2 game.
That's right. Time capsule moment. Yep.
This 3 consoles ago. Oh, Jesus Christ.
This movie really is of the time with the technology in it. That's for sure.
Flight attendant, I really like that he throws a snake in a microwave and pushes the snake preset on the microwave. The microwave on a plane has a snake setting. Hell yeah, movie. You knew exactly what you're doing.
I loved that. I thought that was so funny and so stupid. One, he just throws it in a microwave. That alone is funny to me. And then the snake preset. What the hell? They get it. They know what they're doing. There's a lot of really creative, like, snake versus human moments that I really like. I think the first reveal of the snakes is sick. When they first all come into the cabin with the oxygen masks is so fucking good. Just, like, because we all know if you've flown a plane or if you've seen planes in a movie, you know what the oxygen mask coming down will look like if you haven't witnessed it in real life. So we get that, and then we play with that by having all the snakes come down with it at the same time, and
they all dangle,
and they're dangling their bite, they're going at it. It's just fun visuals, and it just creates fucking chaos right away. I love it. I think it's rad. I think it's such a good introduction to, like, here's what we're going to be dealing with.
I think my least favorite, like, incident, violent part, I think it comes shortly after that, because everyone rushes out because they're like, "I don't want to deal with this." Some lady steps her heel into someone's ear, and I was like, "Oh, no!"
Yeah, no, we didn't need that. Oof, brutal. I don't know why I like this so much, but someone grabs a barf bag, and there's a snake in it.
There's two bathroom moments. The couple having sex, and it latches onto her nipple. It's just B-movie goofiness perfection right there.
Exactly.
Just like, how stupid is this?
It's already so stupid that they go into the bathroom to smoke weed and have very loud sex on a plane.
And the flight attendants are like, Mile High Club!
No one's upset about it in the slightest. One thing I really enjoy too, it's not a death, but when the snakes first come about, Sam Jackson just has a taser and is just that's zapping. That's some zapping. He's just like tasering the snakes that are in his way, and I just think it's really fun to watch.
It's so weird because he does it so casual. Like, I've done this before.
Yeah.
I know how to fight a snake.
I think that's why it's really funny to watch.
Yeah.
And that, like, also, I just have to say, he fully gets what's happening. So much so that, like, he knows exactly the tone and how he has to play it in, like, each moment. Because sometimes, like, he's just being so campy. And then sometimes there's, like, some seriousness to the exchanges. He just gets it.
I almost disagree because I wanted it campier. I wanted it. He needed to be way more over the top and angry about snakes faster. Just like this, what the fuck is going? Like, what? And I don't know. I wanted more campy the second time around. I think with my second time around, I had expectations so low that it doesn't come up to where I need it to be.
Well, speaking of that, I want to read some fun facts. Of course, there's the iconic line in cinema, which is Sam Jackson saying, "I'm tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane." And what I didn't know about this was that they incorporated that into the movie in reshoots because a YouTuber, his name's Chris Ronan, created an R-rated audio trailer for Snakes on a Plane. And when he did that, he took sound bites and actually mashed Sam Jackson with his other movie roles saying, "I want these motherfucking snakes off the motherfucking plane." And because fans responded so well to that trailer, just people on the internet were like, "Oh my god, that's hilarious." The studio saw it and was like, "Oh, well, now we have to add that. We absolutely have to add that." I hope Chris maybe got some money. Probably not, though. But
The YouTube views, he probably got money.
That's true. He probably did get with that. So good for you, Chris. You changed cinema as we know it. But one thing that I also read, which I find really, really funny, in television airings of this movie, to, get past the motherfucker of it all for TV, they actually have this very specific way of blocking out the motherfuckers. And in the TV, the line changed to, "I've had it with these monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane."
It just flows out of the lips so well.
Yeah.
Recently I was in the theater and I come across this trailer for Paws of Fury, I think it is. Michael Cera's like a dog.
Kung Fu Panda, but dog.
It's discount Kung Fu Panda with a dog. Sam Jackson plays like a cat that's his like mentor or sensei or whatever, but he does what the mother father cocker spaniel is going on here. It kind of plays into the same vein of like, he's famous for saying fuck all the time, so how can we pun it around so he's not saying it in this kids movie? I don't know, he doesn't need to try and say fuck in a funny way in the kids movie. No, it looks not great.
Another fun fact about Sam Jackson and his notorious use of motherfucker was that a Las Vegas booking agency took bets on how many times Jackson would utter his crude catchphrase during the 105-minute film, which I think that's history right there. How many booking agencies are taking bets on movies,
After watching this movie, the highlight the second time around was the credits, because I had forgotten about this song, but Cobra Starship, Bring It, which is a song I'm almost positive was created for this movie.
It was, yeah.
Holy shit, that song slaps. Still.
It slaps.
It's so good. And I feel like I hadn't listened to it in almost 15 years. and I knew most of the lyrics. I was singing along. So kiss me goodbye. The music video is them just chilling through the airport, trying to get through security with snakes in their luggage, and holy hell, this is way more exciting than the entire movie. I love this song.
This song is epic. It's fun. It fits it so well. It's, to me, in my opinion, one of the best songs written for a movie ever. Love it.
Almost irritated it doesn't play during the movie.
Truly, this should have been a montage with that song. Like, absolutely. It's so good. I used to love Cobra Starship back in the day.
I don't know anything they sing except this.
There's some songs I think you would know if you heard them. And they're very similar in that type of, like, fun, like, upbeat, like, just dancing kind of music. I used to love them. I've met 3 out of the 4 members of the band. I loved them so much. I've seen them live a few times back in the day. And they just came back. They just finally released new music in, like, 2022, I think. So, like, they're back, baby. But yeah, I used to love them. And that song slaps. It's so good. I think it was one of my ringtones for a little while.
Which one?
The Snakes on a Plane one. I'm pretty sure it was a ringtone of mine for a bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know their stuff.
I saw them open for Fall Out Boy, and they sang the Snakes on a Plane song.
So I think when you say Fall Out Boy, we're already in 2 different genres of music that I'm just not a fan of. I just don't care. I feel like there's a reason I never heard any of their stuff. It's because
Yeah, you weren't the audience. That's okay.
There's like 2 Fall Out Boy songs I think I enjoy, but the rest of them, like, it's just that whiny 2000s boys.
Oh, that was my jam. That was my shit.
That's what the wife likes too, and I'm not a fan. Like Yellow Card, that kind of crap.
Oh yeah, Yellow Card.
Yeah.
Throwback, absolutely.
Taking Back Sunday.
Oh my god,
there's a lot of them that are just not a part of my Rolodex of music, and she likes it all.
That makes sense. It makes sense for you not to like it. Anyway, that's another reason why I feel like this movie is a time capsule, because of that song as well. It's very much of like the songs from back in the day kind of vibe. I love it. All right, well, should we make it official? Should we put our stamp of opinion?
Sure.
Well, Joe, do you think Snakes on a Plane deserves a second chance?
You know, if you've never seen Snakes on a Plane, and the title Snakes on a Plane intrigues you, watch it. But if it doesn't, stay away from it. Does it hold up over 15 years? Not really. I think the excitement was when I first watched it, when it was like in joke, but now with like technology has changed a lot, so a lot of the things just feel outdated, and I feel like action or horror, any of it is just like, I've seen wilder things since then, so the craziness when it happened, sure, it was wild, but like, I don't think it holds up well unless you're super into like B movies and like campy crap. But if the title Snakes on a Plane intrigues you, watch it. But for me, I wasn't feeling it this time around. I think it was the lightning in the bottle, one and done.
So I agree with what you're saying. I think if you remember this movie back in the day and you enjoyed the hell out of it, you're still gonna enjoy it. I think, personally, that's what I went through. I do think, though, you're right. It's very much a time and a place. And if you want to revisit that time and a place, get into it. And if you didn't care for it or understand it then, you're not going to now. Like, it's past. I had a lot of fun revisiting it. I get why others wouldn't, though. So I'm like a kind of give it a second chance. Like, yeah, I enjoyed my second chance with it. I don't know if you will. But, like, for the purpose of, like, what the hell is going on with this movie? I forgot about it. Like, yeah, get back into it.
It was nice seeing like things I forgot about, but like overall, meh.
I agree with you too that like it doesn't necessarily age well. Like it doesn't, but almost that kind of adds to the B movie-ness of it all now.
The memory of it was what was exciting.
I could see that, yeah. With all the pieces of it, like from the outside, makes it really special and unique. But as a standalone movie on its own, meh.
I didn't have a terrible time, but I know I could have been having a better time with something else.
Okay, that's fair. I had a really good time. I really
Good.
did. It's still an anomaly to this day, I think. I don't know. Give it a second chance if you want to. If you don't, don't. I think it's personal preference and what you want to watch at that moment. If you want to, like, watch something stupid and campy, yeah. And if you're into cinema, don't watch something else for that evening. I don't know. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of Second Chance Movies. As always, you can find us wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also find us on YouTube for a visual episode. We are on all the socials. It's all linked down below in the show notes. So please like, subscribe, follow, continue the conversation over on Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, TikTok, all the things. We want to hear from you. Have you seen Snakes on a Plane? What did you think back in 2006? What's your favorite Sam Jackson movie? We want to hear everything. A big thank you, as always, to Beaty McBeatface for making our dope theme song. And we'll be back again soon with another Second Chance movie.